Hi, this is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan's Wallpaper, and we're on our third sheet of manila hemp grass cloth. So, a couple of things. First of all, you want to reverse hang it. The instructions tell you what to do, because there's something called shading and or paneling that takes place when you're hanging grass cloth next to each other. You want to reverse it so that you don't pick up the drastic shading variations that occur from piece to piece that come off of the same sheet. Another thing with hanging grass cloth is that the manufacturer cannot emphasize sufficiently your requirement as the installer not to get glue on the face of the wall covering. So in our first or second video, we showed you how to glue the wall covering on a table, keeping the glue off of the face side of the wall covering. But then what happens now when you have glue underneath the wall covering and you're joining seams together? Isn't it true that if you push it together, the glue is going to ooze out? Number one, the answer to that is no. Because on the edge, you don't put as much glue on the edge of grass cloth as you do over here. So over here has more glue than it does here. So in this area where I am in between my two fingers here is a very thin layer of glue, but enough to keep the edges down. And so what happens with grass cloth is that it's almost like a hardcover book. So how do you get the wall covering to meet, okay? So there's only so much pushing you can do, and because you have a limited amount of glue on the edges, it doesn't slide. So it's very simple. You line up your wall covering like this, and with a sliding motion against the other seam, you do almost like a karate chop of the wall covering, shifting the wallpaper. Otherwise, you can't move it. You ever put down hardwood flooring? You take another piece of hardwood and you bang the side of it to get it in. So because the hardwood fits into it. It's the same idea. You're just shifting this over, and there's only one way to do it, and that is with your body weight, move those seams in. So you see this seam here? I have to close that. And the only way I'm going to do that is with my body weight, move that wall covering by hitting the paper. Don't worry, you're not going to damage your paper. See, just by pushing it, you'll see it move, but it goes back. So this really moves it over permanently. Your hand might hurt afterwards, but you want to use this part of your hand where there's most fat so that it stays in place. Now you see the seam has closed? You have to close your wallpaper seams. And unfortunately, until they come up with something perhaps with a rubber thing underneath it, you can move it over. But then you run the risk of making the color on the rubber embed into the wall covering. But it's not a bad idea to have a tool to do that so you can hit the tool instead. So I'm just going to finish off closing off my seams. Remember, this is not vinyl. It's not going to work if you move your fingers like this, like they do with pizza pies. You know, on the edges when they put their fingers in there, you must hit this wall covering, making sure that you are sufficiently against the other piece. Once you cut this, you can't stretch grass cloth, so it has to be correct. It has to be lined up perfectly. It has to be in place before you cut this, because once I cut this, if I have to move this again, my reveal at the top may show. One last thing I want to show you is this. Now, please remember, don't put too much glue on the edge of your grass cloth. And when you smooth it out, make sure you keep looking just in case you put too much glue, because if it oozes out, if you get glue on the front of it, at least you can get it before if you were to screed this all the way down and you smear glue all the way down, you better take that off. It's a lot. You ruin the piece of grass cloth. But if you only make a little mistake, it's easy to fix. Okay, so I am going to be happy with that. And I just want to show you one last thing, okay? Now, I have an obstacle around which I must cut this wall covering. I want to show you, if the cameraman comes up close, with a fresh blade, okay, I'm going to feel my penetration. Okay, so it's an outlet. I want to control the movement of my hand, okay? I'm cutting right on that outlet, and I don't want to go beyond it. I also, for those of you who know me, do not like electricity. And so the thought of getting shocked, really, it's not appealing. Some people can get shocked and they don't care. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling. So I'm basically cutting around the obstacle, right? Now you see it coming out, right? Okay, so again, don't push too hard. You might ooze glue out onto the surface. Okay, so far I'm 90% good, I think. The reason why I hold with two hands is you can't control one of your hands. Once the motion starts going, before you can stop your hand, you'll find out that you've ruined the cut. So I'm just gonna cut quickly away so that I can show you what I'm doing here. And by the way, I wanna show you what happens when you get glue on grass cloth. All right, so there you have your cut. Notice I'm not sliding the smoother because I have glue under it. I don't want it coming out, I'm pressing, right? You see that, the difference? I'm just pressing, I want that down. And I don't want any glue coming out. Now, if I do get a pocket, this is what I want you to do. Just like that. Push the grass cloth up against, you have to be aggressive because the backing on this is not like any other backing. If you feel a pocket, just smash it. Smash it down. Make sure that that pocket lays down. Because once you get these panels in place, you can't move them. It's not like vinyl. I can't emphasize that enough. Okay, now I'm using my hands a lot. You can see the color coming off. I don't like running this. I'm afraid. I'm always afraid that the glue might come out. And an expert will see your installation. They'll say, you got glue all over the edge. I don't want that happening to my customer. So I'm using my hand because I'll feel glue. I can't feel glue with this thing. So I'm just using my hand to do what this tool does. It's just an extra trick that we use as wallpaper installers. When we're doing grass cloth, we really want to use our hands and our eyes and go slow on the corners because you don't want this glue. Look at how beautiful it looks. Take the extra time that you need to make your grass cloth lay down perfectly without getting glue. If you rush this, you are sure to get glue on the grass end. You're sure of it. If you feel like using these things, here's what I want you to do. Take it and move it outward. So if glue is coming out, you're pushing it outward. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm looking at it, making sure there's no glue on it. I'm going outward. This way, if there were glue coming out from underneath this, which there isn't, I'm pushing it this way, away from my grass cloth. Okay, that's it. So you saw how, and now you see how we protected our ceiling. We don't want glue on the ceiling, so we put our blue tape up there. This is a product pretty much made for homeowners. A professional would not use this thing. It just takes too long to separate the plastic from the tape, but I'm using it. I wanted to check out the product. I don't recommend it for professionals. It slows you down. Use your hand masker from 3M to protect the ceilings with a little plastic and tape on your hand masker. That's it. This is Spencer Colgan from Spencer Colgan Wallpaper. Thanks for watching. Click on like, hit the bell, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.